Good evening, everybody. Welcome to chemistry. My name is Laura Lejeune, and I am your child's chemistry teacher this year. Welcome to our virtual open house. I'm just going to be going through a few things about myself and our class this year, and I hope it's helpful. So let's go ahead and begin. I'll just describe a little bit about myself so you know who your child is learning from this year. I have been at Hale Ray this is my 14th year teaching here at Hale Ray. So I put in my time and I teach biology and chemistry here. I may have had your child in biology last year, and now I get to have them again this year in chemistry. So that's nice to already know them a bit. I live in Portland, and I went to UConn. I live in Portland with my family. We have a dog, and I have two kids. James is 5, and Wesley is almost 3. So I'm quite busy in the evenings with them, but I can usually get to emails and things like that after they're in bed. So this year in chemistry, your child is going to be kind of learning about the world around them, and the kind of essential idea that students explore is to explore the behavior of matter by understanding atomic structure. So when you understand the atomic structure and you understand the forces and the interactions that occur there, then we can understand how and why matter behaves in our world. One of the main things that I try to instill in my learners are the idea of what are called cross-cutting concepts and science practices. So science practices are the skills that students will learn in my science course. And these come from what are called the next generation science standards that our curriculum is based on. And so some of these practices are things that they use in other disciplines and as a lifelong learner. And these include asking questions and defining problems, developing and using models, planning and carrying out investigations, analyzing and interpreting data, using math and computational thinking, constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, and obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. So some skills that they're going to be experiencing this year. We also kind of relate chemistry in terms of cross-cutting concepts across all sciences. So these could include things like patterns. There's lots and lots of pattern discussion in chemistry. Stability and change, what makes something stable, what causes it to change, and why is that important? A cause and effect, scale, proportion, and quantity. Matter and energy, that's basically chemistry, the study of matter and energy. Systems, and structure and function, how the shape of something determines how it works. So those are kind of the big ideas the skills that we learned throughout the year with our content. As far as our content, this is an example of my course syllabus, just to kind of quickly go through some of the major units that they'll learn. We start off with atomic structure and periodicity. Then we move into bonding and how elements form compounds. Then we build on that with energy and change. So what happens when those compounds or those elements change? Talk a little bit about nuclear chemistry there. Then we get into chemical reaction, looking at kinetic energy, equilibrium, and how we can increase or decrease the rate of a reaction. And we end the year with conservation of mass, so looking at stoichiometry and balancing equations, which is lots of fun. Some of the materials that I ask for students to have in chemistry is, I'm sorry, they don't have a textbook. That's a typo on my end. But they need a notebook and either a binder or a folder, and obviously access to the internet. For a grading policy, I do total points. So if an assignment is worth more points, that means it weighs heavier on their grade. So in PowerSchool, you might see an assignment worth 3 to 5 points, and that might just be a quick little check-in. But then you might see a unit assessment that's upwards of 100 to 200 points. So that puts more worth on them showing me what they've learned rather than just on kind of quick check-ins to see their learning progress. I do allow for retakes and revisions. So if a student is struggling with a concept or just didn't score well, we can work together to do a retake if it's like a quiz or a test. And I also allow revisions on labs and written work. So if they have any questions or need to use my feedback some more, they have that opportunity as well. It's all about having the learner learn the material and grow and become better at the skills that they're learning. So I do ask students to completely work on time. That's kind of just an expectation. And the expectations I have in our classroom first is to maintain a safe level of behavior at all times, which is hefty this year with all of the precautions we're taking with the COVID pandemic, but also in terms of being safe in a laboratory setting. So as much as we can, we're going to try to still have students complete labs this year. They'll either be working on them individually if there's enough materials, or it might be one watch, one do, things like that. So we're still going to try to get that to work for the students to maintain the integrity of a lab course like chemistry. Everyone in my class must treat each other with kindness and respect. I do use Google Classroom, so they're asked to check that daily. There's no eating in a science room unless it's specified lunchtime, and completing makeup work in a timely manner. So those are some of just the grading policies and expectations. We're going to be using a blend of in-person learning tools and remote learning tools. So those students who are learning at home can still interact with our classroom, as well as in case we have to go to a remote setting, we're prepared. So some of these include a survey check-in application called Poll Everywhere, a Jamboard, which is like a whiteboard. We might use some breakout rooms, some other digital tools here as well. This is an example of what students may see when they come into my class. So I use a PowerPoint on our TV screen, which is right behind me there. And they also have access to this PowerPoint on their own. But I kind of outline our agenda. I tell them what materials are needed for today. I may inform them of their homework, ask them to turn something in. They have a welcome slide that they see. So everything is really clearly outlined for them and for the class period. And this is an example of what our Google Classroom classwork page looks like. So I organized the different materials by general topics. So we have our first unit, atomic structure, and here was an assignment, a way to contact me during rises, and also some general information. So that is an example of what their Google Classroom classwork page looks like. They can find lots of things there, as well as on what's called the stream. So that's basically it. I'm looking forward to a great year with your child. It's certainly going to be different, but I'm really excited that I get to see them every day, whether at home or in school. And I think we're going to learn a lot and just have a great year.